Okay, let's talk about that incredible feeling, that state we call the zone. That moment of peak performance. Today, we're going to dive into the science of what's actually happening in your brain and, more importantly, how you can unlock that state way more often.
Really think about it for a sec. Have you ever been so deep into something, maybe it was playing an instrument, writing code, or even just a really great conversation, that the whole entire world just kind of faded away?
Yeah, that's the one. It's that feeling where hours just vanish and feel like minutes. Your actions feel totally effortless, and your focus is so sharp that literally nothing else gets through. Now, this isn't just some vague feeling. It's a real, measurable state of mind.
So there's a name for this. Psychologists call it the flow state. The pioneer here was a guy named Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, and he discovered that this state of total immersion is where we do our absolute best work and, get this, feel our most satisfied. But here's the real kicker. Flow isn't some random accident. It's a specific condition that we can actually learn how to create.
So if we can create it, what's the secret sauce? Well, it all starts with the single most important trigger, hitting what's known as the challenge skill sweet spot. It's really that simple and that precise. Flow lives right on the edge, where a task is just hard enough to demand all of your attention, but not so hard that you get completely overwhelmed and just give up. It has to stretch you, but not snap you. And this chart just lays it out perfectly. Look, if the challenge is way too high for your skill level, what happens? You feel anxiety. And if the challenge is too low, you get bored, right? You start checking your phone. But right there, in that top right corner, where your high skill meets a high challenge, boom, that is the flow channel. That's the zone we are all trying to get into.
Okay, but what is really going on inside our heads to make all this happen? This is where it gets super interesting, because it's probably not what you think. Let's peel back the curtain on this hidden circuit that powers the zone.
This right here is the big paradox of peak performance. To get to maximum focus, your brain doesn't just turn everything up to 11. No, it actually has to strategically shut parts of itself down.
So, the technical term for this is transient hypofrontality. I know, it's a mouthful, but the idea is actually pretty simple. Your prefrontal cortex, which is basically the home of your self-doubt, your overthinking, that nagging inner critic, it temporarily goes quiet. And when that voice disappears, your self-consciousness fades and your actions just become fluid and automatic.
But it's not just about taking things away. As that inner critic goes quiet, the rest of your brain gets flooded with this amazing cocktail of performance-enhancing chemicals.
Think of this as your brain's own built-in high-performance toolkit. You've got dopamine, which makes the activity feel rewarding and keeps you motivated. Then norepinephrine cranks your focus way up. Endorphins kick in to make everything feel effortless. And finally, serotonin keeps you stable and creatively flexible. It's this precise chemical mix that creates that signature feeling of being in the zone.
Okay, so we know what flow is, we know what's happening in the brain. Now for the part you've been waiting for. How do we actually do this? How can we get there on purpose? Let's get into 4 practical steps.
All right, the research points to 4 key triggers. First, you need a crystal clear goal. Your brain needs to know exactly what it's aiming for. Second, and this is huge, you have to be ruthless about eliminating distractions. No notifications, no interruptions, 0. Third, you need immediate feedback. You have to know in the moment if you're on the right track. And finally, number 4 brings it all home. You have to constantly match the challenge to your skill, keeping it tough but always achievable.
And just a quick but really important point here. Flow is not the same thing as mindfulness. They're related, but different. You see, mindfulness is about passive observation, just being aware without judgment. Flow is active. It's about engagement. It's about doing something with that intense focus, not just watching the world go by.
So, why go through all this trouble to chase this state? Well, because the benefits of spending more time in flow are just profound. They don't just affect our performance, they affect our entire quality of life.
The data is just undeniable. When we're in flow, our performance goes through the roof. We're more accurate, we solve problems faster. It's also a massive catalyst for creativity, sparking those incredible breakthrough ideas. And maybe the most important part, it has a huge impact on our well-being, seriously reducing anxiety and leading to higher overall life satisfaction.
It really all comes down to this one simple, powerful idea. Flow isn't just some nice-to-have feeling. It is the brain's own hardwired, hidden circuit for peak performance, a circuit that every single one of us has, just waiting to be switched on.
So the only question left is for you. Now that you know the conditions, you know the triggers, you know the amazing benefits, just think about your day ahead. Where is your opportunity to find that perfect balance? Where are you going to find your flow?